guys, welcome back. It's your host, Mia Nunez.
And Isabel Perea.
This week we got the chance to sit down and talk to Ms. Tirpak.
Fun fact, she's our first female president.
Also, she has some big things coming up, like reinstating the school's recycling program.
We hope you enjoy this episode. Hey guys, welcome back. We've been busy since last episode. We had our 2 senior retreats at LaSalle Manor, and we have an upcoming overnight junior retreat.
Yep, and in sports we've been busy as well. We just had a boys swim senior night. We also just had, yesterday we had wrestling senior night. Shout out to the wrestling team. They're 17-3 on the season, so it's going really well for them. Also, last week on Friday we had a theme night, which was white out, for our boys basketball team and our girls basketball team. The boys got the dub, so that was super cool. We had our student section, Meteor Maniacs, and shout out to Coach DeCesar because he provided shirts for every student who came. So it was literally a sea of white in that student section, and I had a lot of fun, and I thought it went great.
And me and Mia also had the opportunity to talk to Jason Knowles, an ABC investigative reporter. He had a chance to come down to the journalism staff and talk about what he does and his experience in the broadcast industry.
Yeah, it was super cool hearing from an investigative reporter. It was a new set of journalism that we haven't seen before. Mm-hmm. Coming up, we have an interview with Ms. Tirpak that we got to visit her. It was super fun, and Ms. Tirpak talked about what she envisions for the school in the future. We hope you enjoy.
Hey guys, I'm here with Ms. Tirpak and of course Mia. Hello, Ms. Tirpak. How are you?
I'm great. I'm thrilled to be with you.
Thank you for taking the time and sitting down with us. So I just want to ask you a little bit background about yourself and how you came to DEA.
So I was raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and went to Catholic school there, went to university on the east side of town. I was raised on the west side of town. After college, I was a Jesuit volunteer in Woodburn, Oregon, and really was committed to doing service. At a time, I thought I wanted to be a missionary in Africa, but at that point in my life, service in Woodburn, Oregon, in a bilingual community in a trilingual town is where I landed. But I knew that I wanted my life to be of purpose and meaning, which is how I fell into this track of nonprofit work and particularly education. Following college, I moved back to Cleveland, Ohio, where I was a development director at my Catholic girls' high school. It was a place that I loved. I thought at one time I might go back and be an English teacher and a volleyball coach. And they took a chance on me and made me the development director because I was a product of that environment. And I did that for 3 years, moved to Farmington, Connecticut, and worked at a girls' boarding school there, and lived in a senior dorm with the students and worked on the annual fund. And I was still in my 20s, so I was trying to figure out what it is I wanted to do and how I wanted to be of service. And I liked development. It was my work study in college to help fund my education. And I was debating to pursue a theology degree or to earn a master's in higher education, and very different things. But I came to Chicago 23 years ago and earned my master's in higher education administration at Loyola University. When I chose to follow that path, I thought I would be in Chicago for 2 years. And 23 years later, I worked for the Archdiocese of Chicago and really got to know Catholic Chicago and a lot of church basements throughout Cook and Lake County because I visited with many Catholics, pastors, parishioners, and did fundraising work and stewardship education with them. Following that, I studied at Catholic Theological Union Graduate School of Theology in Hyde Park for a master's in theology, and was a Cardinal Bernardine Scholar there. And then I ended up becoming their Chief Development Officer doing fundraising there. I was there probably 7 years or so, and then I moved to Sacred Heart Schools in Edgewater. Mm-hmm. And though I earned a master's in higher education, I was working with preschoolers through 8th graders, which was delightful. So you'd see a common theme in my life has been education, and mostly Catholic education. Yeah. So how I landed here, it's a long-winded answer to your question. Really, I was invited to apply for this job. I felt because I've been a professional for 25 years in the field and just been growing in my various roles, and I think it's been as I hope we are for all of you students here, mentors who see in you what you may not see in yourself. And so it was a response to an invitation, and it was something that I felt that I had more to offer. So that is how I applied. And then when I came, I fell in love right away. I have to say, being here 23 years, I was not familiar with De La Salle Institute, which is one of my goals in this role, is to make this renowned school more visible and known in the community. I think it is very much by those who are educated here. And I've learned working in a LaSallian school that it's a spirit that you catch. It's not necessarily something that is taught. And I learned that after the fact, but I can tell you right when I walked in, you could feel the spirit of this place and the beauty of the community.
Yeah.
And that's what captured me. So
I agree with you on that last one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, everybody who comes in the building, they always say this feels like home, or, they feel included, or this is like another family to them, right? So the fact that you're trying to let other people outside of De La Salle, outside of a kind of like close-knit community know, I think it's wonderful. I think that, more people need to be brought here. You're new to D. We love you at D so far. I think as mayor, I could speak on behalf of our student body that we're super excited for you to be here. What are your short-term goals, and what are some of your long-term goals you have?
Sure. So very short term, we were in this meeting together yesterday, is relaunching our recycling efforts here. And I was just writing an email on this very fact. This morning we were meeting with the Morton Arboretum, and we have trees being donated to us. There'll be a planting day in April, which ties in nicely with our relaunch of this. I think as a Catholic institution and a commitment to stewardship of the earth and ecology and caring for ourselves, but our human planet, that's something that is one of my short-term initiatives. Also, like the work of what you're doing, you're helping to make the school known through your initiative to pursue this podcast, but probably beefing up some of our communication efforts. So you'll see, since I started here in July, some rebranding work. Our newsletter looks a little different. We have signage on the street, thanks in part to our tiny but mighty marketing team, and newsletters, that type of thing. I have been trying to get to know everyone touched by this community. So early in my time here, I talked with key administrators, teachers who wanted to come talk with me, alumni, board members, and now this next semester, we will be hosting lunches with graduating seniors, just so I have a sense of how this school has supported you and what can we do moving forward from your experience to help future generations of students. I also have dinner scheduled with current freshmen and their parents, just to see how they decided on D. We will be with each other for 4 years, so I want to make sure that I get to know them right off the bat. Down the line, we have the board, who is my boss. I'm the only employee of the board, and there's a strategic plan that they approved this past May. So there's some clearly outlined goals in that, as far as initiatives and re-engaging alumni, our systems that help us communicate with alumni, getting contact information, because despite all of our wonderful communications, if we don't have an email address or mailing address, they can't be received. But generating that spirit that when I do meet a De La Salle alum, I know how much they love the school, but we love for them to come back. There's also capital initiatives that we'll be fundraising for, which is redoing the commons, what we know as the cafeteria, so upgrading that, as well as our media center. So those are some longer term projects within the next few years that are already outlined for us. And as president, one of my chief responsibilities is fundraising. So working with our development team and raising the monies in order to accomplish those goals, which will benefit you.
That's amazing. I mean, we're on our way out, but
Yeah.
for the incoming freshmen, and I think that as students, like we said, it's your family, right? So once we leave, we hope that future generations are going to continue to succeed the same way we have. As you talked about your work with the archdiocese, how you were almost a theology major. How is your Catholicism? How do you hope to integrate that within our LaSallian school? Because everybody here isn't Catholic. So what kind of core values do you have and hope to take from your religion put it onto the school?
Sure. And it should be noted, you may know this, but I'm the first lay person and the first woman to be president of this Lasallian school that's existed in Chicago for 133 years. And I succeeded a priest. So as you all know, I'm not the one who's presiding at Mass, but my Catholicism really is what guides my life. And I think Christian values of love, kindness, respect, compassion, presence, which would support the family atmosphere we have here, is really what I hope to imbue in my leadership, but also help inculcate in the students and how we interact with one another. So to the point of our meeting yesterday regarding our ecology club and me bringing forward that the Pope wrote a pastoral letter called Laudato Si on care for the earth. So even though we're going to move forward with recycling, there is a Catholic document on why we care for the earth, and it's even written in Scripture. So having been educated in Catholic environments all of my life, and I think that's the beauty of a Catholic school, those tenets of love and respect for one another can be woven in to every area of our curriculum, which is encouraged to do so in a Catholic environment. But I think basically, loving God and loving one another are just baseline rules, whether you're Catholic or not here. I think that's something that everyone can appreciate and respect. In that same regard, I think this school and what we're doing here is for everyone to develop their own spirituality. So it's not turning someone Catholic, but it's helping them to grow and to know that there is always someone bigger than them that's supporting them in their journey, which I think is so important to learn in life, and particularly at the high school years. I was decades ago, I was in high school, and it's not always easy, but to know that there's always something and someone supporting you that's beyond you and caring for you is really important to take throughout all of life, because it can get hard at times. So my hope as a Catholic environment is that we're supporting you to grow in your faith or your spirituality, whatever makes sense for you in that regard.
So you mentioned that you are the first woman president in a long time. So were there any expectations that you had when you came here? Did Father Novak tell you anything about De La Salle that was a little secret, but you want to share with us?
I don't know if it was a little secret. I knew coming in, and even in the interviewing process, and you can see on the website, the former website, listed all of the, I think they were called directors, the brothers who were directors, and he was the first priest, and he started in campus ministry, but there weren't really any secrets. I think in my interviewing process, I met with him and the consultant, and we talked a bit about fundraising initiatives here, but nothing secretive that he shared with me. No.
All right.
While us students love that you're here to support us, is there anything that we can do to support you or your initiatives or goals?
That's a lovely question. Well, I'm really grateful for this opportunity to talk with you and to be a guest on Meteor Pulse. At one point in my life, I had dreams of being a broadcast journalist, and then I was a print journalism major in college. So, in this little studio, this is quite fun. But I think a way you could support the institution is sharing loud and proud how the school has supported you on your journey, and then coming back, visiting us, knowing that, as a family and as an educational environment, as a Catholic Lasallian educational environment, you always have a home here. So returning, and then when you whether you make millions or billions or, not, giving back to the school with your time and your talent and your treasure in a way that makes sense for you down the line. But I think, being an ambassador for the school and the community, and you guys are rock stars, literally. I think that that's the best way to invite more people into our family. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard it. This is a home. Come back, whether it's an event or
Sporting event.
Yeah, right, anything.
Yeah.
As we're kind of wrapping up here, a fun little question for you. What has been your favorite memory at D, or your kind of favorite tradition that we have here so far?
Wow. Well, I think I have to say it's been a long time since I've been to a high school football game or basketball game or volleyball game. And I was an athlete, and I find myself getting riled up. So like being out on the football field in the fall at a game was very exciting for me. And just the spirit of the place. So I love that, but also I was a volleyball player, and I was a much different player than our volleyball players, who are awesome. But this again was decades ago, and the sport has changed. But just the feeling of being in a competitive environment like that, I really enjoyed being a part of it. And also just every day seeing you, I mean, it's a much different feel than being in a grade school, which is where I came from. I appreciate having more adult-like conversations with all of you. And when I interviewed, I was told how great the chocolate chip cookies were in the cafeteria. So I've enjoyed that, and occasional splurges, which also is something that you and Jack as mayors, we've discussed some of the updates, I guess, in the cafeteria is a goal for me too. So, but I think just overall, I would say the spirit of this place is what most captivates me from everyone that I've encountered, and the refreshing realness I think is rare, and that is what I would say has been my favorite part of this experience.
Yeah, I agree. Like Mia mentioned, we are just a big family here at De La Salle, and it's just great to see when all the students come together to cheer on our sports, especially our football.
Well, what a wonderful note to end off on, Ms. Tirpak. Thank you so much for joining this day, and hopefully we can have you back soon.
I would love that. Thank you
so
both.
much.
Thank you so much to Ms. Tirpak for joining us in this week's episode. It was wonderful having her on.
And upcoming, we have Mr. Jacobiak's annual bridge contest coming up.
Yes, so stay tuned for that. Also, we have the Meteor Royale semi-formal event coming up. That same week, we have girls basketball senior night on the 9th, February 9th, and boys basketball senior night on February 10th. So let's show out in our Meteor Maniac student section.
And thanks for tuning in. As always,
Go Meteors!